This is Redhead Diggs back again with another week of football. Since there's no Packer game this week, we're doing a different team. We are previewing Lions versus Houston Texans. Now, I think could be the game of the week for sure. Houston is looking for a big win after getting beat by the Jets last Thursday night, and the Lions are just going to keep on trucking away. But we'll go through it as always like it would a normal Packer review, go from top to bottom. And let me know what you think down below, and let's get to it. The Detroit Lions are easily the best team in the NFL. There's no doubt about it. They are. If you put up this Lions team against the Chiefs, even with the refs, the Lions would kick their fucking ass. I genuinely believe that the Chiefs really aren't as good as people think. They just haven't lost. But then again, when you have the refs helping you out every which way, you're going to be undefeated. It's hard to really win when you're playing against the Chiefs, as good of a team as they are, and the Zebras as well. But Jared Goff has been nothing short of spectacular. I, in the beginning of the year, thought this might be the year where he falls back down to earth, but I was wrong. And to be honest, there's been games this year where he just hasn't had to do much, and they still win by a lot. Take that game against the Titans last week, or 2 weeks ago. 85 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they still win 52-14. Absolutely dominant. They beat the pants off the Packers last week, and the Packers outgained them like almost 300 to 175, and it's like they still won going away. I mean, the game last week was a lot closer than it actually was. I was at that game. It was miserable. One of the worst games I've ever been to. It was 17-3 at halftime, and it was over at halftime. The game was genuinely over after halftime, and I would just expect the Lions to keep going through this week. Now, yes, the Houston Texans have a pretty good pass rush. Will Anderson Jr. is in the top 5 of first sacks this year with 7.5. So if the Texans are going to win, he's going to have to get going like he has been. But the pass rush hasn't been there at times this year, and as a result, the Texans have seen some losses to teams they shouldn't lose to. Like last week, they should not have lost to the Jets. There's no reason why they should have lost to the Jets, but I think a lot of that had to do with just the offense being, not working as well as it should be. Now, it certainly doesn't help when you have your best wide receiver out, Nico Collins, who looks to be a long shot to play this week, and Stephon Diggs, who was out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL. Now, Tank Dell had a pretty darn good game last week, but that was all they really had to throw to. Dalton Schultz didn't really do much. Tom Mechie and others didn't really do that much. Joe Mixon had a pretty darn good game in the first half, but then he only had like 23 yards in the second half, and they went away from the run. Sure, they were losing, but I mean, Mixon had almost 100 rushing yards in the first half. Keep giving him the ball. We've seen throughout this year when the Houston Texans are successful, Joe Mixon is getting around 20 to 25 carries a game and 130 yards rushing as well, and a couple touchdowns as well. He had a touchdown last week as well, but it's just like they went away from the run, and I don't know why. It's not like that game was so far out of reach that they couldn't have keep running the ball, but maybe the Jets must have made an adjustment. I didn't watch the whole second half because it was not a very fun game to watch. But Jets must have made the adjustments and, kept them in check. But when Joe Mixon is running the ball well, the Houston Texans are playing good football for sure. Now, CJ Stroud needs to be better. He just does. It may be sophomore slump this year, but he's still in the top in the league for passing yards, over 2,000. He's still top in the league for passing touchdowns. The interceptions still haven't really ticked up what I would have thought they would be, so he's still keeping those down. But still, it's just like at times he doesn't make the right read. He holds onto the ball way too long. He needs to move out of the pocket sometimes because he certainly is one of those quarterbacks that holds on the ball too long and as a result gets sacked. I mean, he's taken a number of sacks this year. He's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league this year. Now, that larger part of that has to do with their offensive line. It's been pretty up and down. Now they lost Kenyon Green for the rest of the year with the torn ACL, I believe. Now, he wasn't doing much, but still, you can't lose your starting offensive line left side blocker. You can't do that. I mean, it's hard to really win with a healthy one. but let alone one like Kenyon Green, who, like I said, had an up and down year, but he's still steady in the starting lineup on a week-to-week basis. Yeah, if he can avoid the mistakes, if he can not hold on to the ball as long, because with the Detroit pass rush, and even without Aiden Hutchinson, they still have a fierce pass rush. They just got Zadarius Smith, and he's being held out the past 2 days. I think it's a long shot for him to play. I think they'll probably keep him out a week just to get him fully acclimated to the system. But, I do see a world where he gets in a couple snaps this weekend. They're dealing with some injuries in Jalen Reeves-Maybin, who got hurt during the game last week, and Malcolm Rodriguez as well missed the game. So they'll hopefully both of those two will be able to return. Emmanuel Mosley and Malafanu have begun their returns have returned there from the IR. So them being there will definitely help that defense. I mean, they have a really good defense. Even without Aiden Hutchinson, this team is fierce. They have a great pass rush. They're really good secondary. Yes, Brian Branch last week, that penalty on him was unacceptable. It was not a football move. He tried to kill. Maybe not tried to kill, but he tried to take a Bull Mountain. And then flipping off the fans is never okay. Now, it didn't really lead to anything because the Packers just sucked and couldn't take advantage of this. But, again, that's the kind of plays that that's like such a Dan Campbell type of guy. I mean, he's totally out there or living for it, but, at the same time, he takes some hits that he just shouldn't take. I mean, Brian Branch should have just tackled him, but instead he went right for the head. As a result, he was rightfully ejected from the game. The refs really had no choice last week. Brian Branch could not continue last week. Now, Terrion Arnold has been great as well for them. They have a really good secondary. They just have players all over that defense. Now, the offense, again, like I said earlier, Jared Goff has been nothing but consistent. He rightfully deserves to be in the top for MVP voting. Jahmyr Gibbs has been great. Second year in the league, and he's already looking to be one of the best running backs in the league. David Montgomery, he's been around for 4 to 5 years. He's still just as good as he was when he entered the league, and it's a nice, good change of pace back. Well, actually, I think they're both 1A, 1B. I don't think either of them is you can really call change of pace back, since they both get so many carries. They both get close to 15 to 20 touches every game, and they really make the most of those touches. Receivers, Jameson Williams is returning, so hopefully he can just stop being a pain in the ass, get out of his head, and continue to get better and better. It's just something that Jameson Williams needs to work on. We know how talented he is. He was rightfully picked in the top 9 of the NFL, but he just needs to stop with the gambling, stop with the violations. Just stay on the field. You're too talented to not be out there. But good thing for the Lions, even if he doesn't perform, they have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is as reliable as you can get for a wide receiver. He's he's always there. He's always where he needs to be. He's always ready there to catch, turn it up the field, and run. He's not the biggest deep threat guy, but he's one of the best possession receivers in the league. May even be the best possession receiver in the league. He just doesn't drop a lot. I mean, last week, watching him just effortlessly catch everything that was thrown his way, basically. I mean, he was in a spot every time. He barely had to move, and he just, doing his thing. And I see this as a big Amon-Ra St. Brown type of game. I think they should be able to attack this Houston secondary. I believe Jahmyr Gibbs should go over 100 yards in this game. I like Jahmyr Gibbs to at least break at least 130, 40-yard run in this game. He's just so dynamic, and for as good as the Houston Texans defense can be at times, they have been susceptible to big running games this year for sure. So, yeah, it's going to be a good game. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a very well-matched game, although for the Houston Texans, they're just going to have to make make up for the fact they're missing their two biggest wide receivers. Like I said earlier, it doesn't look like Nico Collins is going to play. They'll probably keep him out another week so that'll be when he's ready to finally go. He's like 100% ready to go, fully healthy, ready to go. They need Nico Collins back in the worst way. Tank Dell has been a good number 2 wide receiver, but that's about it. I don't think Tank Dell will ever be a number 1 wide receiver in this league, but he's a very, very good second wide receiver. And, as a step and roll for him, he's doing pretty good. Went over 100 yards last week. And if he can continue to keep getting open, CJ Stroud should be able to find him. But again, like I said earlier, CJ Stroud got to get rid of the ball faster. Can't hold on and keep taking sacks because, God, that offensive line is not helping him in the slightest. Not helping him in the slightest. They need to get better at blocking. They need to get better at not causing penalties too. Stop shooting yourselves in the foot, Texans. You did that a lot last week in the first half against the Jets. I was listening to the first half of the Jets games on the radio, and it's just penalty after penalty. There's just something it is with bad teams. Now, I don't think the Houston Texans are a bad team. It's just sometimes the pre-snap penalties get the better of them, and we've seen that throughout the year. But for the final prediction this week, the Detroit Lions win 27-20. Detroit Lions go in to Houston, get a big win. They'll be 8-1. They've been looking great all year. I don't see the Texans really standing a chance to win this game. I think if they are to really win, they're going to have to hold down the Detroit running game as best they can to under 100 yards. If the Houston Texans do that, they'll be a long way on their shot at a potential win. Joe Mixon's going to need to carry the ball efficiently and often. He's going to need to carry at least 20-25 times and get close to 120, 130 yards to stand a real shot. And again, they're just going to have to get to Jared Goff. Force Jared, run up that A-gap. Get him in the middle. Force him to make the left or the right throws, throw across his body, because we've seen that Jared Goff is susceptible to that kind of pass rush. If you can get him hit right in the face, get in his face, force him to throw off to the opposite side, I think Houston stands a really good chance of winning. I just don't think they're going to be able to do that. I think the Lions are just the better team, and they're going to continue winning and proving why they're the best team in the NFL right now. But that's my prediction. The Lions win 27-20, but it's going to be one of the games of the week. Can't wait to see it. Let me know what you think down below. Otherwise, have a great day, and as always, God bless.